Welcome back. It's a preview of the Boxing Day clash between West Bromwich Albion and Manchester City at the Hawthorns. Pascal starting the away side, moved on level on points with Chelsea with a 3-0 win over Crystal Palace last time out.
Yeah, it was a decent win. Obviously, everyone's talking about them being without a striker. Obviously, James Milner was the one starting up front, and when that first came out, I thought people were just joking. I thought it might have been sort of Navas up there, because they had sort of Silva, Navas, Milner, Nasri. I thought it might have been Navas the one that led the line, because obviously he's really quick, and he thought his pace might have been the one that Pellegrini went for, but he went for Mr. Utility James Milner, didn't he, up there? And yeah, he did a shift up there. Obviously, he didn't get a goal in the end, and obviously they had to rely on Silva and Torre to come in with the goods. But it was a decent win, I think, because obviously everyone would have picked them to win that game. Palace, I think they weren't without winning 4 going into that game, and obviously Palace had their chance at the start when Fraser Campbell had that overhead kick, and the game might have been completely different if they had scored that goal. But City in the end they pulled away. The first goal was pretty fortunate, the way Silva's shot deflected up and in, but after that the 2 other goals were both lovely. Torres was a fantastic finish, and I think the winning like that, 3-0 was a very handsome win without their key players up front. That's very, very impressive.
I mean, like I say, it was a tight game, wasn't it? Overall, I think City came through in the end. David Silva obviously came up with 2 goals, and I think that players like that are going to need to be important with the players they've got out. I think Aguero and Dzeko, are not going to be fit until the new year. Jovetic is obviously struggling as well. I think if they can get one of those back for the Christmas period, but looking at their games, I mean, they've won 6 in a row now in the league. I think beginning of the season, no one was really. Chelsea were playing very well, but City was sort of winning games, but not playing too well. Were they? No one were really sure whether they were going to hit top form. And as soon as they beat Bayern in the Champions League, and since then that's been in the middle of their winning run. And I said they've got players out, but I mean, Mangala at the back as well, starting to find a little bit of form as well. He's been much criticised this season. Company's obviously out as well, so they're showing that they can cope with the loss of key players.
Definitely, and I think if anything, they've been pretty lucky with the loss of key players. They've come at they're not come at the perfect time, as people say how busy the festive period is. But in terms of the fixtures they've had, they've been pretty easy. It's harsh on the other teams to say they've been easy, but considering who they have played, obviously Palace. This game it's West Brom, then it's Burnley and Sunderland coming up. So Pellegrini will think it's a blow to lose these players at a key time, but at the same time they've got easier games here, so it's not too bad. And obviously when you're missing key players like your Agueros, your Dzekos, you need to rely on your key players. And Silva's come back, obviously 2 goals for him. That's only the second time he's ever scored 2 in a game in the league, I think. And Torre as well, he's sort of hitting form. I think that's 3 home games in a row which he's scored in. So when you lose key players, you need to rely on your other sort of star players, and Silva and Torre are certainly coming up with the goods, and that'll put a smile on Pellegrini's face for sure.
Definitely, yeah. But City in great form, coming against a West Brom side who really should have won against QPR last time out. Took a 2-goal lead, and they played some great stuff, didn't they? Les got the header, and then it was a lovely move. Varela, wasn't it? Who hasn't played too much football this season, but he's a quality player. He's shown that in time in Europe, and to go 2-0 up against one of your rivals at the bottom of the table, and then to sort of throw it away. I mean, the penalty incident was. It wasn't. I mean, Leroy Fer, wasn't it? Sort of. I don't think he gave it for the first foul. It was the second one where Fer fell back, and there's not too much in that, to be honest. And to concede them, but even when you're 2-1 up, you're at home. You should be tighter. And to Charlie Austin, obviously, will get the headlines, but there was some poor defending in there, especially for a West Brom side that have got people like Lescott at the back and people who can defend. Players of good international standards. So to throw it away like that at at QPR, would have been so disappointing for Aaron Irvine. But they played some good stuff as well. So.
Definitely, but you look at their form overall recently. It's 1 win in their last 7 games, and we've talked about their problems up front throughout. And obviously, Saido Berahino, he looked fantastic in the first couple of months of the season. Got that England call up that everyone said he deserved, but since then he's gone on a huge goal drought, and it's a real worry because he almost scored in that game, almost broke that drought. Shot that came back off the post. It was really, really unlucky. But Brownie Day started that game. He was their sort of record signing in the summer, but we haven't seen too much of him. Look bright here and there, but they need to sort of he needs to find sort of a settled formula up front there, because now Varela's come back. He played quite well in that game, didn't he? You mentioned the goal. That was a lovely sort of 1-2 he played with Sessegnon. If he's coming back now, then that's something to think about, whether he now drops Adeye or Berahino, and Sessegnon as well. For all those 4 players, it's hard to see that those 4 can start, especially in a game like this against one of the bigger teams in the league. Yeah,
so I think West Brom sitting 15th in the table. They sort of need a result, don't they? They're one of those teams that are expected to struggle, but you look through their squad, they have got quality, but tough game this one. Are you predicting they can get anything from the game? Or?
Definitely not. We talked obviously City at 6 wins in a row in the league, and I think almost everyone will be backing them here because they are just flying at the moment. And when they won that game against Palace, just to see them on the same amount of points as Chelsea, that would have been such a sort of lift for the players, considering how far Chelsea looked like they were just going to storm away, but considering City have closed the gap, that's just huge for them. And I'm going to back them to win here 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, I agree. I just can't see there's any way they're going to slip up in this game, even without, like we've mentioned, the striker issue. So I'm actually going to back 2-0 though as well. So both see fairly comfortable wins for City. Thanks for joining us.